quite on the sense.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. You may be noticing that I'm in a different location and I'm actually at the new Forward Controls Design shop. So Roger's in the process of getting all the operations moved into a new location, and I came up to visit them. I got a vacation up here and just hanging out a little bit. And we're doing a video on this product. I've actually gotten more texts on my personal phone from friends about when is this coming out than probably any other Forward Controls Design product ever. And this is the new OPF for the Gen 6 Glock. Now, OPF for Gen 6 required a few different revisions because Glock made some changes to their MOS system on the Gen 6 Glocks. So the biggest thing, the striking feature, is going to be that almost like hourglass cutout. It's not quite perfectly symmetrical, but there is a cutout here that is aiding in the fitment of the slide. I'm sure there's publications on why they did that, but if I had to venture a guess, is that it's aiding significantly with recoil beyond just having the lugs on the plate itself. So there's a whole new design that goes into the Gen 6 Glocks. And the most notable one that we have to talk about because it's integral into how you actually install OPF is there is a lip here in the back by the rear sights. And it's not just a like a lug that actually is perfectly perpendicular with the plane of the slide. It has almost like a hook or like a lip to it. And so what we did on the OPF is we actually manufactured these with very tight tolerances to seat inside of that lip, not just vertically as in, dropping it in, but also horizontally. So there is a little bit of a lip that locks in, almost like, you grabbing your wallet, locks into place in that tab in the rear. So when you go to install this, what you might find that is different about our plates than maybe some of the other ones out there is that we wanted to take advantage of all the design and the engineering that went into that. And so you're gonna have to seat it by the rearward side actually first to drop in. So that's how you install it. It's pretty easy, but if you do try to go in the other way, if you try to go front first, it's not gonna actually fit because there is that lip that it interfaces with. And also, so because there is a motion like this involved with it, we actually did take the time to bevel this edge. So this is not a perfect 90 degree. If we made it a perfect 90 degree, it actually would then be too short if we were to design it to where it would fall into place when you installed it like that. And so we did take the time to actually machine a bevel into this as well. And that gets into something that I'm just gonna hit on here really quickly, which is that because there's a lot of complex manufacturing involved with this plate, how do I want to phrase this? So I did just talk to Roger. We can tell you guys, because of how complex of a part this is to machine, we can only manufacture 48 of these a day. I did ask because I have no perception about how long it takes to manufacture AR-15 parts. That is something I wanted to talk about because this is going to be a plate that is in pretty high demand. And also it's not going to be the cheapest plate out there, right? Because we wanted to maximize all the engineering that went into the Gen 6 MOS, and there comes certain disadvantages with that, right? Which is going to be our throughput in production. So you guys, most likely you'll never see that once we get caught up with initial demand. But just want to let you guys know that a lot of attention to detail went into the actual manufacturing of this plate. So the last thing, I was joking with Roger. It's actually somewhat lucky for him that a not very smart person does his YouTube videos because I have to explain things in simple terms. And one of the things I noticed, we can talk about tolerances and, thousandths and hundredths and, get out calipers and everything, but I'm not an engineer, right? I can only talk to you guys in terms of what I understand. And as Roger was explaining these specifications to me and showing me, different aspects about it, I was just playing with it. I was playing with this plate. And the thing I noticed as I'm just like handling it and I'm fidgeting is that once it drops in, this feels like a continuous piece of metal, which is, kind of one of those intangible ways to just talk to you guys about how it, the tolerances on these that went into play and into the designing of these were very deliberate, and they make for an extremely well finished product. So, I mean, if this isn't a finished plate, the finished plate will have anodizing on it. Anodizing or nitriding? Nitriding, sorry. Final plates will be nitrided. They'll be black, just like your slide. But if you didn't see that bare metal and you just try to run your finger along this would feel like just like a continuous piece of metal, right? It would look like those AI videos of the cylinder dropping into the desk. As far as material selection on this, the final version, like I said, will be nitrided. And we have had several different metallurgies that you could purchase OPF in over the years. For the Gen 6 MOS, we selected exclusively 17-4 steel. It's one of the toughest materials out there, but this is a product that is going to go basically for the lifetime that the firearm is in use. This is basically a part of it that exists on it forever, and so we wanted something that was extremely corrosion resistant, something that was even more corrosion resistant than 1440. We selected 17-4. So this is one of those, like, you buy it once and it basically becomes part of the gun as a whole, and you'll never have to take it off. So we'll go ahead and get it installed here. Like I said, just goes ahead and drops in from the rear, and that beveled edge falls into place. So we got perfect locked up, and then the optic is going to go over the top. The one thing that is different about Gen 6 MOS versus previous MOSs is the actual holes for the screws of the optics are in the slide itself, and we are simply providing the platform. So go ahead and drop that in there. And you would install it just like you would a normal red dot. So I don't think I have to go over that for you guys, but just want to make mention that these screw holes are actually part of the slide itself. They don't screw into the plate, they screw into the frame, or excuse me, they screw into the slide itself. And the finished product will look like that. You're also probably noticing that unlike previous generations of MOS, there's actually only a tiny piece of the plate that's actually externally visible. Most of it is just the slide itself. So from fit and finish, that was always one of the things I actually never liked about the MOS system, is I hated seeing the entire continuous piece of metal sandwiched in there. This looks significantly better. And then the final version that is available now is going to be black nitride, right? So you won't even see the bare metal. While we're talking about Trijicon optics, the other thing is that these will have 4 632 by half-inch screws included with them, and it's pretty deliberate. Screws are borderline immaterial in cost, so people aren't being penalized with additional price tag because of it. But when you use a RMR, you actually do have to remove the optic in order to change the battery, right? So if you're changing the battery on it, you have to remove it and then re-zero it. And occasionally people may be slightly over torquing or damaging their screws. Maybe they pull it out and it's just really gunky and gross. Or perhaps you're like me and you do all of your gunsmithing in a room with carpet. You drop it and you lose it. We just give you guys some extra screws to take care of you guys, so that way you can service it when you replace the battery, or if inadvertently you need a different set of screws. But there it is, guys. That is the Gen 6 OPF. It is available now on our website and also in stock at Revival Defense, rolling out to other dealers as we continue to get supply of that as well. So thank you guys so much. Have a good day. Real quick here, I almost got Roger to do a portion of this video, but we're going to do a whole interview with him. So if you have any questions for Roger that you'd like to see me talk about with him, drop them in the comments. But one thing I did want to touch on, because Roger brought it to my attention, which is that if you're installing the RMR, not the RMR HD or any other RMR footprints, but just the RMRs, you are going to have to purchase and utilize a sealing plate along with this. It's $10. It's not going to cost you guys that much, but if we were to machine this to not require a sealing plate, there would be a couple consequences associated with that. And I want to talk about those real quick. So the first consequence would be that it would be 30 thous taller than it is now. And like we just mentioned, there's other variants of red dots out there that utilize the same footprint, and we would essentially be penalizing all of them with additional optic height for a reason that their optic didn't necessarily need. And also it would cost more than $10 additional pricing for that machining. We experimented with it, but ultimately the decision was, if you're using an RMR, just buy a sealing plate and you'll be good to go. And then we're not penalizing the RMR HD users, the SRO and the RMR HD users with additional optic height. And the reason why I asked Roger if he would talk about this on camera or maybe do an interview with you guys is that hits really hard on a design philosophy here at Forward Controls, which is that we never add complexity if it isn't necessary, or if there are ways that we can make it more advantageous for all of our users. So Roger is incredibly smart when he thinks about the way products are designed and not penalizing other people for one specific niche use case, and offering a solution that works as best as possible for everybody. So just one of the things we wanted to hit on. Again, these are available now, both on our website and at Revival Defense. Depending on when you're watching this video, it probably has rolled out to all of our dealers once we've gotten all the production caught up on that, but that's where it is available now. Hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions, if you want us to talk about any more design philosophy stuff or have long format interview with Roger, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. These are going to include a instruction manual on installation as well, right? So you're not just relying on me explaining this. There's a card that comes with them in the finished product as well. So check that out. If you guys have any questions, be sure to call or email in. Thank you so much and have a good day.